The Antonov An-225 Mriya Dream was a one-off transport aircraft. For 34 years it was the world's largest transport aircraft. Also, it was the longest and heaviest aircraft ever built. It was developed in the 1980s specially for the Soviet space program. The only Soviet factories capable of building a high-tech Buran spacecraft were located around Moscow. However, the Baikonur Cosmodrome was located in Kazakhstan, approximately 100 kilometers from Moscow. The Buran spacecraft could not be transported by road or rail due to its oversized dimensions. So the Soviets needed a large cargo aircraft to carry the spacecraft. So in its mission, the An-225 was similar to the US Boeing 747 shuttle carrier aircraft. The first An-225 was completed in 1988 and made its maiden flight during the same year. During this flight, the aircraft set 110 world records. Its reporting name in the West was Cossack. In 2022, the only operational aircraft was destroyed during a Russian invasion in Ukraine. Currently, the An-124 is the world's largest military transport aircraft. The An-225 was a larger version of the An-124 and uses a number of its components, such as the same engines and avionics. However, the An-225 had 6 engines instead of 4. A total of 2 giant aircraft and 225 aircraft were planned to be built. However, only one was ever completed. Work on the second airframe was abandoned in 2009. For a number of years it remained 60 to 70% complete. It was estimated that at least $300 million were required to finish the work. However, there was simply no demand for another aircraft of the type. In 1989, the An-225 made its first flights with Buran Space Shuttle. In 1991, after collapse of the Soviet Union, the aircraft was passed on to Ukraine. The Buran space program was taken over by Russia, but eventually in 1993 it was cancelled due to funding problems. So the aircraft lost its only role that TIAS was specially designed for. In the former Soviet Air Force, a smaller An-124 was used to carry tanks and other military equipment. Still, though, the An-225 had a large cargo compartment and had the capability to carry various loads. In 1990, for the sole operational An-225 was placed into storage, together with the second incomplete airframe. Until the late 1990s, the aircraft was neglected. Some of its parts were cannibalized to keep other An-124 aircraft operational. In the year 2000, the sole An-225 was re-engined, refurbished and modified for heavy cargo transport. It flew again in 2001. The aircraft received international certificates, and since 2002 it is in commercial use by the Ukrainian Antonov Airlines. Currently it operates from London Luton Airport. This aircraft carries ultra-heavy and oversized loads that are too heavy or do not fit inside the smaller An-124. From time to time it carries various military cargo. This giant aircraft could carry a whopping 250 t of cargo internally, or 200 t externally. For example, the US C-5M Super Galaxy can carry only 140 t internally. The An-225 could carry 16 shipping containers, or up to 80 passenger cars. Its cargo hold had a titanium floor. Nose of the aircraft folded upwards. The aircraft could kneel in a nose-down position to ease loading and unloading operations. Range with maximum payload was 4,000 kilometers. In fact, the first flight of refurbished aircraft in commercial service was with military cargo. In 2002, the An-225 flew from Germany to Oman with 216,000 ready meals for American military personnel based in the region. This vast number of ready meals weighed 187.5 t and was transported on 375 pallets. The An-225 has been contracted by the US and Canadian governments to airlift military supplies to the Middle East in support of coalition forces. This aircraft can quickly transport huge quantities of supplies. A number of times the Antonov An-225 demonstrated its impressive capabilities by carrying 4 to 5 main battle tanks. Since 2002, the An-225 was the workhorse of the Antonov Airlines fleet. This aircraft transported objects that were previously thought impossible to move by air. The An-225 was operated by a crew of 6 to 7 men, including 2 pilots, technicians and loadmaster. The first and only An-225 aircraft originally was optimized for external loads. It lacked rear cargo doors, as lack of such feature allowed to decrease the weight of the aircraft. Also, it has twin vertical stabilizers. The second incomplete airframe had some design changes. It was planned to be more effective for cargo transportation. The second aircraft had a rear cargo door and a redesigned tail with a single vertical stabilizer. In 2016, Antonov Company signed a contract with Aerospace Industry Corporation of China to complete the second airframe and set up license production of An-225 aircraft in China. Also, there were talks with Turkey to complete the second aircraft. During the last couple of years, the Ukrainian Antonov state-owned aircraft manufacturing company was in the state close to a bankruptcy. There were a number of reorganizations. In 2017, Antonov Company assets were liquidated, including 3 factories in Kyiv and Kharkiv. In 2022, the only operational An-225 was destroyed during a Russian invasion in Ukraine. It was undergoing repairs at Gostomel, Antonov Airport near Kyiv and could not leave the country prior to Russian invasion. There were Ukrainian estimates that it might cost over $3 billion and significant amount of time to rebuild the aircraft.